Welcome to our channel. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Warning, the following viewer discretion is advised, contains images of graphic violence and not suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Joshua Wade.
The man the feds accuse of using the ATM card of missing nurse Mindy Schloss had his first court appearance this afternoon. Now he is waiting to find out if he will be released on bail. 2 days after Joshua Wade was taken into custody inside a federal courtroom, the 27-year-old intensely listened to the feds lay out their 4 charges against him. The U.S. attorney says Wade committed bank fraud by using Mindy Schloss's ATM card to withdraw $1,000 from her account. Wade's public defender immediately pushed for a bail hearing. That's when prosecutors called Wade a flight risk, saying he knew he was wanted for days. And if the missing nurse's body is found, Wade will also face prosecution for her murder. Inside the packed courtroom, Wade looked back at his supporters, one being his dad, and the other, the woman who turned him in, 20-year-old Christina Greaser. She tells CBS 11 News she will support Wade throughout the process because she says he has no one else. Mindy Schloss's friends were also in the courtroom.
It's a first step in maybe finding some justice for what happened to Mindy.
Joshua Allen Wade was born on March 18, 1980 in Great Falls, Montana, but moved to Anchorage at a young age to live with his father while his mother resorted to placing him in an acquaintance's care so she could work. Unknown to her, that same acquaintance started sexually abusing her son when he was 5. After suffering a failed romance as a teenager, he began to develop anger issues and soon after started getting in trouble with law enforcement. According to his father, sister, and several friends, Wade openly expressed his hatred of women, particularly towards Alaska Natives. Wade's first confessed murder was that of 38-year-old John Michael Martin, an unemployed schizophrenic who was found shot to death along a bike trail in Anchorage in May 1994. Shortly before his death, Martin had left a village inn he regularly visited to have coffee with friends. At the time of the murder, Wade was 14 years old and had no known connection to his victim. 5 years later, in December 1999, he claimed to have killed 30-year-old Henry Ongtoa Suk at a motel in Knik Fairview. His victim suffered from a mental illness and had lived at the motel for approximately a week before he was found by an employee shot to death in one of the rooms. Like Martin before him, Ongtoa Suk had no known prior connection to Wade. One night in September 2000, Wade and a few friends were driving around Spenard when he spotted 33-year-old Della Brown, an Alaska Native woman with a drug and alcohol addiction. After dropping off his friends, he returned to the place where he had spotted Brown and attempted to rob her. A struggle ensued, with Wade overpowering her and smashing her head with a rock. He then left her half-naked body in an abandoned trash-filled shed, later showing the body to acquaintances. Supposedly, he killed an unidentified man who had accompanied him to the shed where he killed Brown. According to Wade, he knocked the victim out, put him in the trunk of his car, and went for some drinks. Upon returning to the car and hearing the banging on the trunk for help, he drove outside of town to a secluded area in the Matanuska-Susitna Valley, got him out of the car, repeatedly stomped on his head, took off his clothes, and ultimately shot him twice in the head execution style. Eventually, one of the acquaintances who saw Brown's body reported the incident to police, which subsequently resulted in Wade's arrest. Physical evidence tying him to the crime was scarce, and at trial his attorneys presented him simply as a big talker who would go to unbelievable amounts of exaggeration to impress his friends. Two, as they were themselves criminals, the claims of Wade's acquaintances were easily dismissed, leaving little chance of conviction. As a result, he was acquitted from almost all charges presented against him, with the exception of evidence tampering, for which he was given a prison sentence of 6.5 years. However, he was always known to law enforcement and suspected of being responsible, but no evidence at the time was available. In 2007, Wade moved into a new home in Anchorage, where he became the next-door neighbor of 52-year-old Mindy Schloss, a nurse practitioner who worked in Fairbanks. On August 3rd, he got angry after an apparent rough day at work and decided to rob Schloss, who was at home at the time. After creeping inside her house, Wade restrained her with zip ties and PIN frequency card and PIN before stuffing her in the backseat of her red Acura Integra. He then drove north towards an isolated area near Wasilla and, at gunpoint, forced Schloss into the woods, where he subsequently shot her in the back of the head with a Glock. After making sure she was dead, he burned her body and subsequently left the area. Soon after, a friend of Schloss reported her missing after she failed to show up at work or return her calls. An inspection of her home revealed that her car had been stolen, and after a month of searching, her partially burned body was located on September 13th. Now designated as a murder, authorities checked her financial activity and noticed that somebody had been making withdrawals using her ATM card. So in testifying the surveillance footage, it was revealed to be an unidentified white male. Coincidentally, a similar-looking man was seen abandoning Schloss's car at an airport in Anchorage. After ruling out Schloss's partner as a suspect, authorities began investigating the neighbors, taking particular interest in Wade due to his criminal convictions and his infamous murder trial. When questioned, 2 of his past girlfriends confirmed that he was indeed the man on the surveillance footage, but by the time they went to his home, he had already fled. His whereabouts. When they found out how to reach Superintendent Flynn's and him at a flashpoint window, they installed officers in the front windows. His whereabouts remained unknown until September 2, when police entered the room and found the guests at a funeral park on the front. Police arrived at the scene, but by then Wade had already gone to a nearby acquaintance's home, where he held hostages at gunpoint. After several rounds of negotiating with a lawyer, he was successfully convinced to surrender.
Joshua Wade was originally charged with murder, but when he went to trial, he was acquitted of that charge. He did face 4 years for tampering with evidence. This was the case of a 33-year-old Native woman named Della Brown. She was mutilated in Midtown 7 years ago.
Anchorage police say Joshua Wade, the man seen here, is the same man who used Mindy Schloss's ATM card. His name was connected to the brutal murder of 33-year-old Della Brown. Her beaten body was found in an abandoned shed on Spenard Road in 2000. Before Wade was arrested, witnesses say he bragged to gang members, telling them he killed the Native woman and had sex with her corpse. Wade was arrested weeks later, but his story changed. He said he was just telling lies to impress friends. During his trial in April 2003, he faced 8 charges, including murder and sexual assault. His defense team told jurors there was not one shred of physical evidence. With that, he was only found guilty for tampering with evidence, serving just over 4 years in jail. At his sentencing, he had this to say about the case.
The only person I'm sorry to is her mother, that's it, and the family. But other than that, I'm not sorry for all the hell you guys had to go through, for lying and trying to get a conviction on me.
Charging documents show Wade committed a number of crimes when he was a juvenile, including assault, stealing a semi-automatic handgun, cocaine possession, and another incident where he had a camera hanging outside a woman's hotel room window. As an adult, Wade has been charged with armed robbery and burglary.
Thank y'all for watching. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe on the way out.